So we're out here in the disaster of a garage. I figured I'd show you a little bit of all the engine parts and pieces for my 612. We're actually kind of in the process of gathering up stuff we need to bring down to Norm Meinert's. He's going to rebuild the engine for me over the winter, or at least do the stuff that we can't do in-house. He's going to bore out the block or have it done and sleeved, because the sleeves are completely bad, pitted. They're in really rough shape. Let's flip it over and show you the other side here. So they need to be sleeved. A couple different options we could have went with this tractor. You can see how rough they are on the top here. Pretty bad. We could have bored the block and got some custom pistons to fit and gone that route, but because this basket case came with all the original pistons, which they look really horrible on camera here, but a lot of that is just very light surface rust. They've been sitting out in the damp environment for a long time, so they look worse than they really are. They a little bit of polishing, and they actually clean up pretty decent. But what's even better is this tractor came with a new set of pistons. There again, they look rusty because they are very lightly rusty, but they're a brand new set of pistons. And we were doing just a little bit of scuffing here with just a little soft brass bright wire brush, and it cleans. It's not focusing here. It cleans up very nicely, so I'm not worried at all about using these. A little bit of cleaning and they'll be just fine, because like I said, they're brand new. They're still in the old Cosmoline packaging and everything. And original paperwork was still in the box. It's kind of a neat, because I'm guessing they're a little bit on the older side. I don't know how old they are. And they're from this, if I can get it opened up here, Sealed Power Corporation in Michigan. I don't know. I actually should look into if that company is still in business, or if that's an obsolete thing too, or what. But so it came with a set of 4 pistons. It also came with a set of new piston rings. Same thing, all brand new in the package yet. It also came with a box of, it's all that same brand Sealed Power replacement parts. It came with 4 brand new exhaust valves for this tractor, which is very nice, and they're really nice. They're not rusty at all wrapped up in their Cosmoline paper, so that's a nice thing to have. And then, so it's just the 4. Obviously we need 8 for intake, for exhaust. Well, there's at least 6 old valves here. Most of them are in, I think, reusable condition. The edges aren't sharp yet and whatever. So we'll clean them up and see if we can get 4 good ones to use for the intake. Otherwise, we'll look at getting some new valves, whatever. I mean, that shouldn't be that hard of a thing to find. Well, I guess kind of keep going through things here. Oh, I guess back to what I was saying. So yeah, if I hadn't had good pistons, we could have bored out the block and gotten new pistons to fit. But since I have good pistons, it's probably a little more cost effective to go the route of using the pistons I have and sleeving the block. So that's the route we plan on going. It's going to also need, let's put it up here. new valve seats put in because they're in very poor shape. That should be no big deal though. The guides, I don't know if those will need to be replaced or not. Won't know that until we do some more measuring and checking. But it'll probably need all the typical, probably dust the head surface here, make sure it's flat. I'll probably finish removing these remaining manifold studs, and we'll probably end up getting that dusted, machined, make sure it's nice and smooth so the manifolds made up to it nicely. Same with any of the other surfaces. If they need to be, like, the oil pan surface, that one looks pretty good, which they typically are. So that probably won't need anything. Just clean it up a little bit. What else did I show you? Obviously, we'll check to make sure that there's no cracks in the block itself. If there are, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully there isn't. To dig around in the parts, I don't know if I've showed you this yet, probably not. That is where the magneto mounts onto that and is driven off of the governor, goes here, and that drives the magneto. Then your oil pump mounts here, I believe. And that is actually, where was that? Here. Oil pump. It's driven off of the camshaft. So that goes in the block like that. And then that ties in with that oil level gauge that I showed you earlier with the little ball on it and the float. Because the intake is actually in that. So it comes through that, and then the pump does your pump in there. Here's your lifters and the springs that go along with them. So they go, let's see, this way. They go up into the block like that, and your cam, is in here, and the lobes are going up and down on those, knocking stuff all around here. Lifters there, which are acting on your valve because it's a flathead engine, so your valves are going up and down there. And like I said, it's just a flathead, like like an old, I'll point to it, the Model A over there on that side of the garage. If you're familiar with those engines, it's very similar to that type of a four-banger engine. These look decent. There again, with the light resurfacing, they should be good. They don't seem to be sloppy in the bores of the block or anything. We have, I don't know if I mentioned yet, there's two camshafts that came with this tractor. We started to just really roughly clean up all the surface all the surface rust on this one. But I'll probably send them both down to Norm to look at and pick the better of the two to get reground and put back in the block. This is the front cover for the engine, but it is not actually for this particular application, because on the Allis there's that whole cast front cover that the fan blade and everything goes on. I showed you that when we were up in the loft of the barn. So this must have been from that parts engine that I've talked about, so I shouldn't need that as far as I know. What else we got here? Showed you the pistons and rings. So yeah, there's the set of the used pistons. Obviously we'll need to use the connecting rods, and probably end up having to redo all the bearings, because the crankshaft, which is, I guess I could go over there and show you the crankshaft, will need to be reground And if it's reground, chances are the bearings aren't going to work anymore. Maybe with the shims, if the Babbitt bearing ones might be able to. So there's the crankshaft. It obviously needs to be reground. It's in, it's in rusty shape. It's savable, but it's not in usable condition. Just while we're back here, that is the radiator for the 612. Haven't even really got to looking at that yet, investigating that. The shroud will need at least some work. There should be another lip on here, kind of like a 2035 lip, about that wide. I don't know if it was taken apart or cut. Like I said, I haven't even got to that yet. We're kind of trying to focus on one thing at a time. Right now we're just focusing on trying to get all the engine stuff rounded up and packaged up. I've got couple new crates here. We're going to package all the parts up and bring them down to Norm on probably Thursday or Friday. We're thinking of making a trip down to his place. Today is Monday, the December 23rd, I think it is. So we're kind of doing all this stuff during Christmas vacation. Oh, what else we got here? These are the used head studs. Probably end up just getting new ones of them when that time comes. A lot of this isn't really engine stuff per se. I guess we can kind of go through it just to show you what I got. This is the bracket for the air cleaner. And obviously that's the air cleaner. And that connects up to your carburetor on that end. There should be a little glass, like a little mason jar on the bottom here. And it's like a centrifugal. Air goes in these holes. There's a series of baffles and I don't know what you want to call them, fins in there that makes that air swirl around in a cyclone. All the heavy dirt and dust settles out to the bottom, and then only clean air goes into your carburetor then. That we'll have to reproduce or fix because it's like Swiss cheese. It's completely rotten. But at least I have a good pattern, and I'm thankful for that because then I can at least, re-engineer it from scratch. But we'll cross that bridge later. I don't know if I've showed you yet. This is the carburetor. It has been, looks like it's all been gone through and rebuilt again by the previous owner. We'll kind of go through it and check everything. The one thing we did notice is it came with the old, we assume original brass float, but it's in a little poor shape. And they put a cork float in it. So I'll have to think about if I'm going to put a brass float back in it or not. So cork floats sometimes in today's world with the gases and stuff end up getting eaten by the gasoline. But like I said, we'll cross that bridge later. So air cleaner, that's the bracket that holds the air cleaner. We have, this is that side cover that I pointed out in the earlier video. It goes on the side of the main casting on the tractor. It's access so you can get into like the clutch area. It'll need a little work. The one little clip bracket is broken and the other ones are bent. Other than that, it's in pretty decent shape. It's not actually bent up too bad. Couple little rust holes, but very much fixable. The cast knob, like I pointed out, we found the other one for the other side in the gas tank. That's what it looks like, because we haven't dug the other one out to show you. Just the old radiator hose. I don't think that goes in here. Hose clamps. Oh, there's another valve. That one's junk. So here is, okay, so if anybody out there knows for sure what these are, or if they even go to this 612, I do not know what these are currently. And a couple people I've asked didn't recognize them either, so I'm starting to think they might not go to this tractor. But if you know, let me know. Here is some more clutch parts I was talking about. So another one of those discs and another one of the cast plates. So hopefully between all these parts and pieces there is enough stuff. We'll hose clamps. The water outlets and inlets for the side of the block, I believe is these ones. There's two of them. There again, one must be from the parts machine, and one must be from the actual tractor. That goes on the block. On the other side, that goes on over here, one way or another. Let's see, we go something like that, points up towards the front of the radiator bottom, I believe. And then there's another outlet that comes out the center of the top of the head. That would be that one, I believe, and goes up to the top neck of the radiator. There's some other random parts and pieces in here. I'm not sure what they all are. That might be for the front of the crankshaft, I'm guessing. That's actually the chain that controls the throttle. There's a pivot point up on the hinged area of the tractor where the linkage turns into a chain for a while to go around the corner. Not sure what that is. I was just kind of looking at it. We're looking for part of the lever bracket for the advance and retard on the magneto is still either missing or I don't have. That's not it though. I don't think it should be like a flat, just a flat strap. We got the little ratchet, the part with the little notches in it. That's with the magneto. But I don't think I have the lever part yet. At least I haven't found it. There's a lot of parts and pieces though. What was underneath the carburetor? I don't know if you guys enjoy these videos or not, me going through these boxes of junk. If nobody likes them, I won't do them anymore. But yeah, there's some more valves and old original spark plugs, which you never know. Some of those might just clean up and work, because these are the kind you can take apart, I believe, and actually clean them. So, if we can, there's a bearing for our camshaft, I believe. So if we can use any of this stuff, we will. They might be beyond saving. Like I said, if you guys don't like these videos, I'll quit doing them. But I know some people kind of get a kick out of seeing these basket cases and kind of craziness that I go through to... Okay, whoops. I just got to stay in there. I think I kind of showed this box already. Valves and springs. I think this is the last box to go through. This looks like more just all modern hardware. I don't think this is necessarily 612 parts, but that came with it. And this is the last box of stuff. This here kind of intrigues me. And there again, if anybody knows for sure, is this actually a 612 part, or is this just some piece of junk for something else? It looks like an old gas spout for an old gas can, but it's got the bracket on it. Maybe it's for some type of a wire loom, possibly, because I don't think the tractors had this. I think they had that wooden block wire loom holder. But maybe the other application engine, the parts engine, had this. I don't know. If you know, leave a comment or let me know. There's some old gaskets, which are just junk. There's some electronic, I don't know if these are magneto parts or not. Points for in the magneto, or... And some of it, like I said, might not even be Allis parts. It could just be, you know how it is sometimes. Parts and pieces get mixed in with other projects. Looks like a little breather cap. That might be for You might know where that is. There's a pipe, oil pipe on the front of this block. Flip it over here one more time. How many times can I flip this block over in one video, huh? And there's this oil fill pipe, I believe is what it's for, on the front of the block. This might be, yeah, look at that. I bet you that's for that. Maybe. Well, it's all crusty. But I bet you that's for that. I'll have to look into that. But it's got the little breather hole in the top of it. Original or not, I couldn't say, but I bet you that's what it was. To dig into the parts book and look at that. There's some bolts and little tiny. Again, to me it looks like maybe magneto parts or something. Little tiny parts. Could be engine parts. I don't know. That one little looks like I don't know if it'll focus in there. Looks like on the very top there. Looks like a what do you call that? The little carbon contact for the magneto, like in the distributor cap area. That even put it together with one hand. Bonus. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up out here. I'm just going to start going through stuff and packaging up the stuff I know normal need, and we'll go for. Oh, I can show you one more thing. I guess you might find this interesting. It came with some gaskets, right? Just stay open. So it came with, that's the old used head gasket, but it came with this, what looks like to me, unused, new, but very old NOS head gasket. And it is a Victor number 268. It's got the number stamped and written there in pencil. It says Leroy. On it has MC-29 written in pencil, looks like. Over here, it looks like it says, if you can see that, it looks like it says 80 cents. So that's really hard to believe. If it is, this thing is older than the hills. And there again, it says Leroy. And Leroy. So it's definitely for the Leroy engine. And then it's got the Victor stamp over there as well. But it doesn't look used to me, but it's been kicking around for so many years, I don't know if I'd be comfortable using it. But it's the old good ones. It's actually got the, it's probably asbestos in the center, but shh, don't tell nobody. That's bad stuff, right? So here's the other gaskets. It looks like somebody just made them up, probably the previous owner. They actually got them labeled though, timing cover, part O. And then you got the end of the valve cover, side covers, the oil pan. You got governor to engine. These are the manifold gaskets. This would be the oil level indicator. This is the oil pump. This is, not sure, that might be another. No, it's not a manifold. That's carburetor, maybe. Did I do this one? Oil pan sump, it says, and this will be the front timing cover. No, rear bell housing. So it's got some gaskets made, and it looks like it did a pretty decent job. So we might be able to use at least some of them. I'll bring them down to Norm, and if you can use any of them, great. If not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think this video has went on long enough now. Looks like I've been talking for quite a while. So I'm going to wrap it up. But I just want to keep you updated and see what kind of a mess, little basket case we started with in this project. So in a couple of years, when you see this tractor all done and running, there's a few of you that watch this can appreciate the craziness that I started with. All right. See you later.